Good afternoon. I'm 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗂𝐴, Artistic Director of Pocket Opera, and welcome to Handel with Care, the second installment in our virtual concert series for 2021 that we're calling Pocket Watch. We hope that you saw our first installment, Songs of Concealment, featuring Philip Harris singing the works of Jacqueline Hairston. It was a terrific program and very well received. So if you haven't had the chance to see it, please check it out on our website or on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. Our next concert will be Songs of the Night on June 20th, and Jeffrey Jordan, our executive director, will tell you a little bit more about that at the end of the show. Handel has always been an important part of the repertoire at Pocket Opera. Even though, of course, we're known for doing our translations of opera in English, Handel has always been the one thing that we've presented in its original language. For the last 50 years, Donald has been on the forefront of bringing Handel back to popularity in the mainstream of music through these concerts that he began at the Old Spaghetti Factory and continued right up through our seasons of a couple of years ago. Over the last 20 years, Marcelle Dronkers has been one of our premier interpreters of the Handel repertoire. She has sung just about every Wicked Queen and Evil Sorceress that Handel ever wrote. Today she's joined by Jefferson Packer to present a wonderful concert of some of the highlights of the great arias from her repertoire. Marcelle is going to sing from Agrippina, Bel piacere, as well as Pensieri voi mi tormentate. From Alcina, she will sing A mio cor, and then finally she will finish with a tour de force performance of Furie terribili from RINALDO. We hope you'll stick around for a Q&A afterwards with the artists as we discuss the repertoire, what it's like being an artist in a pandemic, and relationships with Pocket Opera and you, our audience. We hope you'll enjoy. Thank you.
sola Thank you, Marcelle. Thank you, Jefferson. What a wonderful performance. I remember singing Bel Piacere in college, and Marcelle, I can't hold a candle to you, this little tenor from Texas. My name's Jeffrey Jordan, the executive director here at Pocket Opera, and I want to thank you again for tuning in. I also want to thank each and every one of you who came to our gala back in March. It was the most successful gala we've had so far, year to date, for pocket opera. Every year it gets better and better, and a lot of it is because of your generous support. I also want to say that Donald had a wonderful time at his after party. We had probably 50 people show up, and it was just so exciting for him. We also want to say thank you to the wonderful foundations that keep us alive and going here, especially this past year. The San Francisco Grants for the Arts Foundation, the Bernard Osher Foundation, and of course, the Frank A. Campini Foundation, who underwrote this performance today. I would also like to invite you to our third installment of Pocket Watch, Songs of the Night, on June 20th. Soprano Lindsay Roush and tenor Alex Tate, along with music director David Drummond, will present songs celebrating the shortest night of the year. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. And now, here we go, over to Nicholas, Marcelle, and Jefferson for a Q&A about today's performance. Thank you.
Bravi! That was wonderful. Thank you, Marcelle. Thank you, Jefferson.
Thank you. That was fun, kind of.
It was fun. I see you surrounded yourself with another evil queen.
Yes.
Yes. Why not? With what's a queen without a fire-breathing dragon, as we discovered with the Armida. Brava! That was a tour de force. I have enjoyed being backstage at many of the Handel concerts when you thrilled us with evil queens, evil sorceresses, everything but a sweet little girly girl. But you got to sing Poppea today a little bit.
I did.
So that's fun. What was it like picking the repertoire for this recital?
Well, I thought we should do a little bit of everything. So we had this suite, we had sorrow, we had fury, we had a little bit of everything for our audience.
And even within one aria, it's great because the B section can take it, it's very more, soulful. And then she decides, yes, my son will be on the throne or whatever. So the impact changes a lot. And the piano was marvelous, Jefferson, especially in that Furie terribili that has a flamenco kind of sound. It's incredible. What was it like playing that?
Yeah, well, you picked up on that. I was trying to bring out that kind of on a guitar because when you're not a whole orchestra, you try to sell what you've got, and I felt like you could make it sound very guitar-like.
It was dynamic, and it actually sounds like a chariot being pulled by dragons coming on stage, cabaletta-ish. So it was very, very exciting.
Sure.
What people might not know is that you filmed separately. So we recorded the audio, and then Jefferson filmed first in front of a green screen, and then Marcelle filmed the next day in front of a green screen. So what you see there, the audience, what you see in the final product is a computer-generated theater that we put both our artists into. So Jefferson, what was that like playing without your soprano next to you?
Well, I mean, we had the one thing we had in common was you, Nicholas. We had you there both evenings, and you were skillfully directing me to look as if she were in the normal crook of the piano. And we had rehearsed together so much that I just pictured my Marcelle right there, and it was.
Aww.
Well, I mean, it looks pretty convincing to me.
It does look pretty convincing. And once you started imagining that she was there, I see you like looking up for her breath and her breathing and catching her entrances and stuff. So I mean, that's what the little details that make. That's how we know you're also a performer. Not just a piano performer, but a skillful artist all across the board, because you made it look so real and feel so real. So bravo.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And she was, in fact, your first pocket opera diva, wasn't she, Jefferson?
She was. My very first rehearsal that Donald let me play when I was a young pup. I had arrived a month before, at the end of my 23rd year, was a rehearsal of Martha, and she was Martha. So Marcelle was the first heroine I got to know. Many.
Yes, and I always say that the shows like Martha and the Handel concerts were always the things that make pocket opera very special. Of course, all the other companies do all the big stuff, or they do some cool modern stuff. But these rarities of things like Martha or seeing Handel in concert, really were what made pocket opera, what continue to make pocket opera very special, and what the audience tunes in for, because you can't see this, anywhere else. And it's great to have these things in our repertoire. We have 90 different operas in our repertoire, and it's exciting.
Very exciting.
Marcelle, what was your first pocket opera?
Oh, a very long time ago. I remember singing in a gelateria in the cannery downstairs somewhere. That was my very first. And I was so eager and young and unknowing that I had practiced way too hard. We were doing the Martha, among other things. And I had no voice when I opened my mouth to sing. To sing Norina's aria. There was nothing. Oh. And there were all these reporters there to make reviews. And they wrote the sweetest things like, oh, well, we know there could be a voice in there, but we can't wait to hear her next time.
Yeah.
And the next time was Valenciennes doing cartwheels in The Merry Widow at the Ghirardelli Square.
You literally did cartwheels as Valencia.
Yes. While singing.
Well, that's pretty darn impressive. I'm going to have to add that back into your staging the next time you're on our stage. If you still got the cartwheel, in you?
Sure. For you, darling, anything.
Absolutely.
Just make sure the costume is non-flammable.
Yes, exactly. and don't kick the orchestra. Very expensive instruments. So, obviously in things like this, we find new ways to be creative during the pandemic. And sometimes it's amazing how restrictions force us to be more creative and force, new ways to be creative out of us. I learned videography and editing skills from one of our, wonderful editors and board member, Lawrence Dillon. He was kind enough to just sort of teach me how to put these things together and assist. And what sort of new skill sets are you doing during the pandemic, or how are you being creative during the pandemic? Jefferson, what was your other creative projects?
Well, I put together a recital of Florence Price songs with my friend Michelle Kennedy.
The wonderful Michelle Kennedy.
Yeah, a wonderful soprano, born and raised in the Bay Area. And that was a joy from start to finish. Just the idea of the final product being recording and not a live performance is very new for me. That, at the end of it, someone just presses a button and that's what you do.
For the ages.
Yeah. And I guess I'm having more sympathy for Hollywood. Yeah,
amazing, right? And for them to get it right, they do take after take after take, which isn't always possible with opera singing. So sometimes you just have to say, and sometimes the flaws and the feeling of live is what's exciting. Too many recordings have become so polished in opera and perfected that the audience has an unrealistic expectation of what the voice sounds like. The voice is a living, organism.
It did remind me, though, how much the live performance is something I miss dearly, but the rehearsal and the fact that we were able to rehearse together, Marcelle and I and Michelle from our other project, that just was such a joy to just get together with.
We miss people. We're social by nature artists, and we certainly theater artists, and we miss each other terribly. And now that we're mostly vaxxed or double vaxxed, we're getting there. We're getting there. Marcelle, what are your creative outlets these days?
Well,
right? You've got your little baby opera singers.
I'm a teaching artist with San Francisco Opera, and this semester we're composing 9 operas in school. Yes, via Zoom, which is an entirely different ballgame than being in the classroom with them. Everyone from 1st grade through 3rd grade I have this semester. Different.
Yeah, but very sweet.
And their plots are all loving and empathetic, and they come up with the plots themselves. They come up with the text themselves. We invent the melody. We make props and sets, zoomy backdrops and things.
Very fun.
And then we choreograph within the little zoomy window, and then we record it, and then we show it off to their teachers and friends
Good.
and
Well, I
family.
wouldn't recommend showing you burning the theater down to any of your first.
Yeah, I was
Probably going to be a little
no.
traumatic. We have a couple of questions. Amy Ream has asked, how do you prepare for this concert, and has preparing changed with COVID? Jefferson, why don't you tackle that? We have a Marcelle question after that. So how did you prepare for this, and how does preparing change with COVID?
I mean, as of Friday, am double vaccinated, but I think I mentioned this to you when we were speaking earlier this week. I think I'm just going to keep the mask on whenever I'm at the keyboard. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's a very nice gesture to singers who rightfully are always concerned about their health, not just during a pandemic. So that has taught me that we have that at our disposal. And you understand why Asian countries, people do that when they're feeling a little under the weather. Just
I mean, I would
fellow person.
Right. And I would sometimes see someone wearing a mask and think that they were paranoid about getting something, but it's not. It's that they were feeling a little under the weather and they're being considerate of others. And so they mask so that they don't communicate to others. And it's such a really thoughtful thing that I hope does stay with us, that if you're feeling a little sick, we'll be okay with wearing a mask. And you know, if we must come to a rehearsal. So it's very, it's a new way of life, but makes sense.
Yeah.
So Marcelle, we know that you are so moved and inspired by a live audience. This is from Catherine Gale. We know you're so moved and inspired by a live audience. What did you do to give yourself the motivation that an audience otherwise would?
That's a lovely question. I imagine that they're there. In a way, it's a little less scary. I found this a little less scary in that they're not right in front of you, breathing, sneezing, coughing, which I also love because I love that intimate contact with them as a sharing. But to know that they were there and that they were going to see it, the scary part is like in perpetuity. This is a little different. So live, entirely different from this method.
Yeah, and there's something about the nature of making theater art that it vanishes at the end of the day. It is an experience for that moment, and that's what makes it very special, and why, you know, in opera we get sometimes 4 performances, sometimes 8 performances at bigger houses, sometimes 16 at the most, but that's what you get, and then it vanishes, and that magical combination of people and music and theater craft disappears. So we have a question from Chase Kupperberg. Can we expect to see COVID precautions stay with the company moving forward, given the vaccine and hopefully imminent herd immunity? So that's, I think, something that we can all address, and certainly I will talk about. Yes, we're certainly going to continue to take vaccine precautions, COVID precautions as we go forward. I know we'd all like to feel as normal as possible, but we're going to take it, one step at a time. Where Pocket Opera rehearses, we have in the Lamplighter space. Lamplighter's has a fantastic air filter system that can turn over the air in the room in about an hour and a half, and it's a big room. So, and there are all these protocols in place at the rehearsal studio: temperature checks, signing in when you're there, questions asked, masked up, and so we are going to slowly get back into the normal phase of things. What we don't want is anyone to feel uncomfortable coming back to rehearsal, coming back to performance. So we are going to continue to be diligent, and we're going to continue to make sure that our artists are safe and that our audience stays safe. But hopefully, by 2022, perhaps, when we're back in the theater again, we will be able to do what the guidelines suggest, and that if people are vaccinated, they can be shoulder to shoulder in a space. So we will see. We will see. Mel Bachmeyer says, I have fond memories of Marcelle's mother designing awesome concession stands at Pocket performances. Creativity runs in the family.
Mel. Yeah. Yes. She would come with, depending on which opera it was, she would be themed up. We'd have like the abduction theme and the whatever, and she would bring everything. We'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and she would bring all the supplies, and she had a friend in a bakery here in the East Bay that she would donate all the pastries. It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
And it is very much a family affair here at Pocket Opera.
Yeah.
Marcelle, what was your favorite Handel opera role and why?
Oh, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 of them that you saw today.
So
Those are 3 of
Armida,
my favorites.
Armida, Alcina, and Agrippina
Yeah.
are I think they're some of the strongest characters in the repertoire, and they get some amazing fireworks singing.
So convenient. They all begin and end with the same letter.
It is. Handel liked his A characters. One last question here. How many people are in the pocket opera chorus? So pocket opera traditionally has 1 voice per voice part. So when the chorus divides into 4 voice parts, we have 4 chorus singers. When it divides into 8 parts, we have 8 singers. So generally the most we have in our pocket opera chorus is 8, plus whenever possible, the principals also join in the choruses to fill out the sound. And so we usually get, 13, 14 people singing the big choruses and ensembles. And in our little spaces with our pocket philharmonic orchestra, it sounds, delicious and full. I mean, we did an amazing Pearl Fishers a few years back that I was very happy to direct. And Marcelle was actually generously donated her time to be the head soprano in the chorus, because you need a big honking voice for those choruses, and so it was extraordinary. Well, what a lovely afternoon with you all. I know that our streaming master here has another stream to head to, so we're going to sign off. We're going to thank our audience so much for joining us today. We wouldn't be here without you guys. If you haven't yet visited Pocket Opera's website to learn more about us, please do. There are ways to donate. You can see our past mini concerts, our past pocket watches, which we started about a year ago, right after the pandemic started, and continue to get more and more sophisticated, culminating with what we have today, magic with these 2 wonderful artists. Thank you, Marcelle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jefferson.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much for everything you do for the company.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And I know Donald will enjoy watching this very much. I'll visit him soon at Coventry, and I always like to show him what we're working on. So I'm sure he'll send his love and affection to you both. So thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Come to Songs of the Night in June. We look forward to seeing you there.